Here's an AMI This Week shortcut with Chris Vallée.
My name's Rich Pedulo. I am the founder and dad of the Treat Accessibly operation. We are a grassroots movement. We are not a nonprofit. We are not a charity. We're a family-run movement with my wife, Natasha, and 10-year-old daughter, Sienna.
Treat Accessibly creates an accessible Halloween experience for children of all abilities.
One day I was putting pumpkins on my stairs, and I saw a little boy using a wheelchair with his family across the street going out for a day. And it occurred to me as I was putting the pumpkins on my stairs that little boy couldn't treat in my home. And then I panned out and looked at every other home on my street and realized they all had stairs. And that was the night that the Treat Accessibly movement was born. The next day we had the sign on our lawn. That Halloween, we had 7 families in the neighborhood attend our home and explain to us that they had seen the sign. They didn't really understand it, but they knew they would have a place at our home for trick-or-treating. And it's been our mission every year since to grow the number of those signs available for free to homeowners.
Rich's daughter Sienna embraced the project and has worked actively to spread the word.
Pretty much every time Halloween comes around, we're all talking about the costumes and stuff. So every year I always bring up how you can treat accessibly. It's quite easy. I mean, instead of trick-or-treating at your front door, you can trick-or-treat out your garage or at the end of your driveway. I feel it's important for every child to actually have a Halloween where they can goof around with their friends, go house to house, and get some candy. That's an important part of it, the candy.
The Pedulos have built some great partnerships with Remax, Kinder, and Canadian Tire. The Rick Hansen Foundation also came on board as a collaborator.
My name is Marco Pasqua, and I'm a Rick Hansen Foundation ambassador. The reason why the foundation wanted to get involved in this is because it's a perfect fit for what it is that the foundation is working on, which is increasing accessibility for our Canadians with disabilities through the fact of accessible trick-or-treating.
Would you have liked to see a movement like this back when you were a child?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so I'm a child of the mid-'80s, so I can't help but think back to the fact that I was the kid in the wheelchair who was sitting off at a distance, and I often reflect when I tell my stories about the Halloween experience that I had a sibling without a disability, and that was so impactful that my sister never treated me any different than anyone else. I was just her brother, and she would always run up to the door and say trick or treat and come and grab candies for me. And to hear that Rich and his family had a similar experience with just a neighbor in their neighborhood coming up and wanting to have that experience, and Rich just saying, this isn't right. We have to make a change. We've got to make a difference. And there's a very small thing that we can do to make that difference.
It was because of this initiative that Sienna was a recipient of the Difference Maker of the Year award from the Rick Hansen Foundation.
It means a lot to me because in my mind it says that more people will take a child seriously, because sometimes adults don't always see children as adults and have the idea that actually could change the perspective of Halloween.
She's at the schools, she's speaking to her friends and colleagues about why this matters, and she saw the impact that it had on her neighbor with a disability. So it was just a no-brainer when it comes to making sure that she was recognized for the year in all the incredible work she's done.
Rich, Treat Accessibly held an event in early October to raise awareness. Can you tell us about that?
One of the new movements this year is our desire to help neighborhoods understand how they could completely convert to an accessible Halloween. What we've done on October 2nd was we closed down a street in Toronto with the full support of the Weston Village Residents Association, the City of Toronto, in support of the Holland Bloorview Children's Rehabilitation Hospital. We have created Treat Accessibly Halloween Village, and 30 homeowners on the street in a section where there was only 50 homes raised their hand to participate. we were just so excited to create this experience. It is an inclusive experience. So not only are children of the Holland Bloorview Kids Rehabilitation Hospital invited, but also children in the Weston Village. So we can create a conclusive experience that children can have. Many of them they've never had before. Children with mobility disabilities specifically can't necessarily go up to a door and trick or treat.
Rich, for those who are watching who want to participate and make their home accessible this Halloween, how do they get involved?
If a sign is still available in Ontario, Atlantic Region, or Quebec from your local RE/MAX agent, or you could get one from a Sobeys at the Kinder displays. If not, visit treataccessibly.com and you can get a do-it-yourself printable sign there, as well as a series of tips to treat accessibly.
Hopefully one day, at least there are 3 houses in every town that treat accessibly, so all children have the opportunity to have a fun Halloween.